Last episode, we brought you 5 brilliant moments in some of our favorite action sequences, until Game of Thrones came along and delivered a masterclass. So here are 3 more brilliant moments from the Battle of the Bastards. Can we just gush for a little bit? Like, oh my god, what an incredible 30 minutes. This is why we love cinema. Beautiful and horrifying and nerve-wracking and just, with intricately designed choreography reminiscent of Braveheart, CGI set pieces reminiscent of The Lord of the Rings, cinematography reminiscent of 2015's Macbeth, and a vastness of scale that clearly and admittedly pays homage to Kurosawa's Ran, the Bastard Bull's pedigree is clear and it is prestigious. But besides looking like $1 million, or 30 million, what made this episode so incredible? What specifically about it kept us on the edge of our seats, or jumping up and down on our couches, screaming at the TV, which I totally didn't do the whole time? And I think the clue is in the question. We were jumping up and down and screaming and crying and cursing and losing our breath and stress-eating the LD50 of Doritos. We were emotionally involved. It didn't feel like we were watching the fight. It felt like we were living it, which is exactly what the mad Game of Thrones genius that is Miguel Sapochnik set out to accomplish, to put his viewers inside of a pitched battle in all its pain and chaos and randomness. Sapochnik may have had a lot of intellectual ideas about war and battle and what it is or is not good for. But instead of investing all of his energy trying to convey the concept war is bad, he tried to show us how war feels. So, first up, let's take a look at Rickon's decidedly neither zigged nor zagged demise. Hitchcock famously talks about suspense and surprise, the differences between them, and how the former is far more relevant to filmmaking than the latter. You take a scene with a bunch of people at the dinner table and then halfway through, boom, a bomb blows up from underneath. Surprise. But you play the same scene and instead reveal the bomb beneath the table in the beginning, and all of a sudden every moment and word and itchy knee carries the dread and tension and anxiety of will they or won't they discover the bomb. But here, Sapochnik basically says, it. Why not both? And the why is simple. Isn't Jon Snow's experience here exactly the experience of suspense, followed by relief, followed by surprise? The dread and terror and anxiety that his brother will be killed, and then the breath of fresh air when it looks like he's safe, and then the shock at his sudden death. That's how Jon really feels here. I mean, that's how we'd be feeling if our brother was about to be, we need to talk about Kevin'd by a medieval psychopath. But just showing us Jon Snow feeling this way isn't enough. No, Sapochnik draws on age-old techniques to force the feelings inside of us. And he does this by planting a bomb, in this case an arrow into Rickon's back, and then teasing us over and over about how it might go off. So first he sets it up. Rickon has to run or be shot in the back, and then he toys with the detonator. He gives us a beat of Ramsay shooting the arrow and then a shot of Rickon's back, which in this context is less of a shot of Rickon, the character, so much as a shot of Rickon target. So we know exactly what is going on. The arrow is going to end up in Rickon's back, but then it misses. Don't worry though, he's going to repeat the pattern and tease again. Ramsay draws, fires, we see the target, and the miss. In the meantime, the distance is closing, so here we go one more time with the repetition. This time he makes a much bigger meal out of it. Ramsay's drawing, Rickon is running, Jon is galloping, Ramsay is firing, Rickon is panting, Ramsay is watching. The intercutting has intensified between the 3 spaces, the shots are shorter, the music is swelling to a climax, and by this point, remember, we're smart cinema viewers, and we know 2 things for sure. 1, Game of Thrones likes to kill its characters, and 2, patterns come in threes. So by the time we see the third shot, we know that if there's going to be an arrow that kills Rickon, this is it. See, Sapochnik isn't just playing with elements on screen, he's playing with elements in our mind. He knows how we expect things to work and is using that to build the kind of dread Jon Snow must be feeling. Jon Snow isn't thinking, oh shit, this is the third arrow, I know things come in threes, this one is definitely going to get him. No, this pattern repetition is a storytelling artifice, introduced in order to induce us to feeling the sense of dread that Snow is feeling in that moment. So when the third repetition misses, we breathe a sigh of relief. For a moment, it looks like he's in the clear, which again is how Jon's gotta be feeling now that he's within spitting distance of Rickon. Movies won't show things a fourth time, and we know this. It would be redundant. We would feel cheated. And sure enough, we're right. Sapochnik specifically does not repeat the pattern of teasing expectation, draw, shoot, miss. We get a breath of air, we leave Ramsay behind, we don't see him do anything else, we're probably assuming he's out of range, and then he shoves an arrow through him with no warning, and it's fucking brilliant. Imagine this sequence on its own with no suspense. Rickon running and then he's dead. Kind of a letdown, right? Or imagine if he'd actually gone down on the third arrow. We would have felt, ugh, I knew it was going to happen. But that's not how Jon Snow is feeling. Jon Snow isn't resigned to Rickon's death like Sansa is. Jon Snow has hope. Jon Snow rides out there because he thinks he can make it, and Sapochnik realizes this. So he plays us against the expectations we have for the show, sets us up for a death we know is coming, and then doesn't give it to us. We say, holy shit, Game of Thrones has gone soft. And then he rips it away, because that's how Sapochnik thinks death feels. Not a completion of a pattern, but a sudden, violent removal of a life from a body. A vicious, out-of-nowhere arrow to the chest. It feels like we've been cheated. It feels like we lost the relief we'd earned. And Miguel gets us there. Last time we talked about how Lord of the Rings does something rare and incredible with its action that we dubbed pyramid action. It positions its heroes at the tips of its narrative thrust such that every one of their actions had consequences that rippled down to the entire war. And then Battle of the Bastards came along and flipped it on its head. No, really, it flipped it on its head. Jon does exactly two things that affect the battle. He starts it and he defeats Ramsay. The last of which honestly could have been anyone. The rest of the time, he's just a really, really badass soldier. Jon is a victim of this battle, not a causal agent in it. So in this case, the pyramid is upside down. It isn't Jon's actions that ripple down to tell us the story of the battle, it's the story of the battle that ripples down to tell us the story of Jon. But the key important part is that both are being told together. We are able to keep track of the micro and the macro because they're connected. And nowhere is this better than the fantastic Fog of War Oneer. This part is motherfucking incredible. Why? Well, partly because it's a solid, unbroken minute of a massive choreographed battle, but partly because while it is so chaotic, it's also so bloody clear. It simultaneously shows us everything that is happening to Jon, without allowing us more than a second to see what's coming next. Miguel Sapochnik designed this shot around a scene description in the script that called it Jon's Fog of War, and that's exactly what it is. The layered framing privileges us a massive, wide view of the entire battlefield while still keeping us in an intimate space with Jon, and we get to follow his personal journey while contextualizing it within the greater conflict. But the real brilliance is that while we get a survey of the entire battlefield at a distance, right up close to Jon, our peripheral vision is narrow. Threats arrive with little warning from the side, from behind, from above. And there's a ruthlessness to how long the shot holds. He doesn't let us look away. He doesn't allow it to let up. We're stuck in the fray with Jon. And the odds? They don't seem so hot in any given exchange. So when the seconds turn into minutes, it looks bleak. Sapochnik has taken every decision at his disposal and pointed them all in one direction, linking the cinematic experience we're having on our lazy boy love seats with the battle experience our hero is having up in North Westeros. And he does this the whole damn time. When the heroes collide, when Jon is stuck in the world's worst mosh pit, when he's standing there readying himself for death, everything about the experience is designed to make it feel immersive. And it works so bloody well, we just have to appreciate it. Finally, we want to talk about decision. We f***ing love the Two Towers, and we raved about it all last week, but Game of Thrones takes its tactical approach and one-ups it. In Helm's Deep, tactics are important. The battle is one of wits between Theoden and Saruman, each trying to outsmart and outmuscle the other and push through their defenses. And all the heroes rally the armies in support of these tactics. But in Game of Thrones, tactics are extensions of character. Tactics are emotional decisions, made in the heat of the moment. They're reflections of a mental state, not necessarily clear-headed moves on a chessboard. Ramsay isn't playing Jon's army. He's playing the army's commander. He's playing Jon. Look at how Sapochnik suggests this by pitting them against each other, shot against reverse shot, despite the physical distance between them. And for Jon, Davos, and Tormund, tactics are reactionary. They're flawed. They're made on tilt. They're influenced by morals and pity and desperation and feelings of futility and anger. Sapochnik takes time and expends energy trying to explore why these decisions are made. He builds to Jon's anger when he charges. He contrasts Davos's humanity when he tells the archers to hold their fire. He illuminates Tormund's desperation when he flees the encirclement. This is a brilliant character-focused way to look at a battle. It's completely in keeping with the personal narrative approach. But the decision we want to look at, because it's tiny and beautiful and simple and a little different, is Jon's decision not to kill Ramsay. It's small and it's simple and it's over in 2 shots, but this moment is perfection. Jon's beating Ramsay and beating Ramsay and beating Ramsay and beating Ramsay, and when all of a sudden, shot, reverse, and boom. Jon has remembered Sansa and decided that this is not his victory. How do we know that's what Jon's thinking? We know this because we're thinking. Because Sapochnik lets us come to the conclusion just moments before he shows Jon doing it. The first shot tilts up and the camera just notices Sansa. It remembers that she's there. With a slight tilt and a clever focus rack, it shifts our attention. Remember her? Yes, we do, we're thinking. Oh shit, what about Sansa? Shouldn't she get a say with Ramsay, we're thinking? By the time we're thinking that, we're looking at Jon. Looking at Jon, looking up at Sansa. So we project our thoughts onto him. Oh snap. Jon is recognizing that. Jon is noticing Sansa. And look at him remembering her stake in it. Sapochnik lets us explain his story for him. The tilt and rack of his shot and the juxtaposition of his edit guide us to do the work. He plants in us a seed, lets it grow, and then lets his story reap the harvest. So what do you think? Did you like this kind of episode? Would you like more deep dives into single scenes? Were there any other moments from Battle of the Bastards you loved? How about that finale? Let us know in the comments below and be sure to subscribe for more Cinefix Movie List.